Parliamentary reporter dictation number 26, and the dictation speed is 150 words per minute. Ready? Start. The Rural Credit Survey Committee, which looked into the entire question in 1951, had made certain recommendations. In the drafting of our plans, the recommendations of the Rural Credit Survey Committee were given due weight. You know that in the first 5-year plan, it was stated that at least 50% of the villages should be brought under cooperatives. According to the third plan, all the villages and all the peasant families are to be brought under cooperatives. This is the perspective with which the Planning Commission has looked at the problem. What prompted them to do that was that in the Rural Credit Survey Committee's report, they have said that both through the government and cooperative sources, credits were available to peasants only to the tune of 6%. Through cooperatives alone, it is, I think, 3% or so. The other sources of credit to the peasants are the original money lenders. They have elaborately described all that. One point which they stressed in their report is that even the cooperatives do not cater to the needs of the weaker sections of the village community. They have stated that in villages where the money lender, the trader, and the village chief function through one person, even the cooperative movement is controlled by them in many places. If they are outside the cooperative movement, they will sabotage it from outside. If they are in control of it, they will sabotage it from within. So, even the 3% credit which had gone to the peasantry in the name of the cooperative movement did not reach them really. So, they made it a point in their report to stress that in future we should see that the credit really goes to the weaker sections of the village community. Now, sir, after the report of the Rural Credit Survey Committee, we have been working for the last few years. I do not think that a proper evaluation has yet been made as to how the present day cooperative societies are working. As far as extending the facilities to a larger section of the rural population is concerned, the cooperative movement has succeeded. My point is whether this emphasis that the committee had laid on taking special care to see that these facilities reach all the lower sections has been properly worked out. Another point is that even in the matter of extending the activities of the cooperatives, we have not reached the target which was fixed in any of the plans. Now they want to make it universal, but even during the first 5-year plan or even during the second 5-year plan, the target that was placed before the country was not reached. It was estimated that rupees 2000 crores are needed for agricultural operations every year, of which rupees 800 crores would be financed from their own earnings. The other rupees 1200 crores they have to get either through cooperatives or through other agencies, and this is needed for their short term, medium term, and long term loans. For all this, of course, the cooperative department have made certain plans and they have made certain studies under the leadership of the V.L. Mehta committee, and they have really made certain concrete and helpful suggestions to improve the working of these cooperatives. But even here, in spite of all the recommendations, in spite of all the studies, things are not working in the proper direction. Now, apart from these credit facilities, much has been said here about the processing factories like sugar factories, etc., which should go to the help the peasants. I fully agree that apart from credit societies, marketing societies, processing societies, all these put together will be of a great help to the peasants. But Are they really solving the real agriculturists? I have heard some people speaking about the successful functioning of certain cooperative societies. I know one cooperative sugar factory. Among its members, not even 1% are actual agriculturists. Just like a joint stock company, shares are sold, capital is raised, and they are running a proper factory. My point is that such factories should not be brought within the purview of the cooperative movement. They should be treated as ordinary joint stock companies. I will quote another example which is to be followed, and that is the Weber's Society. There, they have made it a point that among its members, at least 80% or 90% should be Webers themselves. They have made that a strict rule. If that is so, if such principles are accepted and adhered to, then these processing societies will be of immense help to the peasants. Otherwise, in the name of helping the peasants, some people escape the other obligations that may accrue from running a joint stock company and are taking the benefit. I do not feel it proper to invest money in large scale enterprises on a cooperative basis. The food situation has been eluding solution for a long time. We have made deficits for a long time. We have had to import 3 to 5 million tons a year in a country which has about 3 to 320 million acres under crop each year, where 60% of the population at least is engaged in active agriculture. This sharp shortfall should not have been there. It is a challenge to us. It is a challenge to the whole population. It is a challenge as well to Sri Bhupesh Gupta, to the patriotism of his party, to people who say that unnecessarily a scare should not be created, and it is their bounden duty to see that they help in the process of increasing agricultural production, food production. It is a challenge not only to the government, it is a challenge to the people as well. It is a challenge to our intelligence, it is a challenge to the intelligence of the government departments, it is a challenge to the efficiency of the ministers, it is a challenge to the patriotism of the people as well. We have to accept this challenge. After all, you cannot go on continuing imports from foreign countries for a long time. Imports may not be always to our disadvantage, as I am going to show. As the House knows, PL 480 is not entirely to our disadvantage because those PL 480 funds are used or deposited within our country and are used to our benefit on a corresponding amount being deposited by the government. Although in the food account they are a debit for the country, they are an asset because they got spent for the use of the country, for libraries, for universities, and for other things. So, in that way, it has not been a disadvantage, but the very fact that we import food grains is a challenge to us, which challenge must be met. There has been in 1959, I think, a Ford Foundation team which went into this. They called it a crisis, a food crisis in India, the Indian food crisis, and they submitted a report. They say that freedom for India does not count much if there is no freedom of food. If people do not have their food, they do not value their freedom. As the House knows, the Prime Minister sent out a circular to all the states 2 or 3 years ago requesting that the portfolio of agriculture in the states should not be neglected. It should be entrusted to an important minister. I think the National Development Council considered this question and they said that as far as possible, the chief ministers in the states should handle the portfolio themselves, and then they have started a food production board in the cabinet itself at the center, and the National Development Council has decided that an agricultural production board should be started in each state with the chief minister as the chairman, and an agricultural production coordination committee or board should be started in each state with the chief secretary as the chairman. They have started an agricultural machinery board for supplying machinery. They have taken many steps in addition to the normal measures. The government have been doing their very best in this regard. But with all that, it is not kept up in the first 2 or 3 years of the third plan, and we doubt very much whether the progress and achievement of the second plan could be kept up.